If you're watching this video before you begin this project, turn back now. Do not do what I'm about to show you. This video is intended for those of us who rushed into the project without reading every bit of information. This pertains to the rear main seal on Nissan 3.5 liters. I believe some other engines like the VQ30 are part of this as well. The rear main oil seal is held in by 2 dowel pins, 3 10mm bolts. You got a lip seal inside here, and then you have a rubber gasket that goes along the bottom there. Here's the old one. You can remove these pretty easily. There's several videos on this. However, reinstallation is tricky. Haynes or Chilton manuals just simply state it's replaceable. However, if you read into the factory service manual on the VQ engines, you'll find that it wants you to drop the lower oil pan so you can fit this lower gasket in there. I began the project without knowing this. I did not budget enough time or account for the rapidly declining cooler temperatures in this area. It is extra complex on the Pathfinder because I have the front wheel drive or axle in the way. I just don't have the time for that. So I've already destroyed one of these seals by trying to brute force it on there. Ended up popping out the circular tension spring inside the circular lip seal. So I'm on my second one now. But really the biggest thing is trying to fit this aluminum piece over the crankshaft while keeping this piece sandwiched in there. It's just too thick, which makes sense why the factory service manual would suggest dropping the rear main oil pan. So to find a solution to this, what I've ultimately done is taken a new gasket that's kind of too thick, and I filed it down. So what I've done is just sanded along the surface there, along the top of it, to make it thinner, and then I tapered it as well. This little notch faces back towards the back of the car, so on the engine facing side I sanded this corner into kind of a smooth flowing arc, as well as this section right here as well. If you look here, you see on this edge right along here, this inside corner, it's kind of rolled, it's tapered, it's not perfectly flat like a 90-degree corner. That's kind of radiused. That exists on the top as well. This is my practice gasket, but I have filed it down to about the thickness of removing this radius on the corner. So what is that, maybe a 1/2 millimeter, maybe a millimeter max, and found out that is sufficient to make it fit in there. However, I'm not going to use this one as my hand wasn't as steady as I hoped it was, and I have a low spot on it which leaves an air gap that I can visibly see. So my second one that you saw under the vehicle, I have went less aggressive on the sanding, and it is really tight, really hard to fit in there, but it is actually doable this time around. So you can try using just sandpaper in your hands, or if you got a belt sander or a Dynafile, just real easy, slow movements get the job done for you. Of course, when you do this, don't expect your rear main seal gasket to last as long as the original did, because you've effectively shortened the life on it, because this thing is going to shrink as it dries and ages. So it's just going to start leaking sooner. But at least you can put it back together, get the thing back on the road again, worry about it later, or sell it to someone else and they can worry about it.